Welcome back, everybody, to We Are TPM with myself, Kyle Teixeira, sitting next to the co-host over here, John Teixeira. This week, we are back to discuss utilizing inspections in rental properties and all of the things that we talk about. If you have any questions about any of this, give us a call, 817-818-9039. Shoot us an email at showmethemoney@wearetpm.com. Let's get into it. What are we talking about again today, John? We've came up with a whole bunch of titles in the last 5 minutes for this topic and defaulted back to our original
utilizing inspections. I like the way you said it though, because you said it like a rocket ship was taking off. Utilizing inspections. It was great, and I liked it.
See, now we just
how do we utilize inspections in our property management business? If you're a landlord and you have rental property, inspections are really important. And there's a lot of different kinds of inspections. We do inspections at a lot of different times for different reasons. But I think what we want to do here is help people understand how important it is to utilize inspections properly at the appropriate times, thoroughly, to protect yourself so that you can do your tenant dispositions and all the things you need to do regarding managing that property properly.
Utilizing property inspections.
I had to do that
properly.
Really slow. Property properly.
So you're talking about like inspecting it and getting a report on the condition of the property, say before they move in?
Yep.
Why is that important? Who cares?
Well, because they're going to move out. And when they move out, there's going to be all kinds of claims of how things were before they moved in.
But the hole was in the wall. It was in the door.
Right.
And there was scratches on the wall. There was huge chunks of flooring missing. I did not complain about them at move-in. Right. I know I totally moved in without complaining about those things.
And I cleaned the entire kitchen, by the way.
Yeah,
I had to clean the whole kitchen before I could even move my stuff in.
No.
It was a mess.
I'm the one playing devil's advocate.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
If it doesn't make sense if we both do it.
Okay, got it.
So. But that's it's an objective piece of information for disputing facts, right?
Yep.
That's pretty much what it is. And that's why we do them regularly too. So like you said, we did different types. Like for example, renewals. Inspections at renewals we believe are important because it allows us to upkeep any of those problems on a continuous basis versus finding out about them all at once at the end. And can be, a negotiating point for rent rates and
right. And well, it's two things. Well, it does several things. One, it gives a homeowner peace of mind that their home is being taken care of or not being taken care of, right? They want to know. So for us, it's a way for us to be able to convey that to them, right? To communicate that to them, how the home is being taken care of by our tenant. As you said, if there's repairs that need to be done, they fall into two categories. Their tenant negligence or their normal property maintenance. And either way, it's easier to take care of them on a regular basis every year rather than waiting until they leave and letting it all pile up, right? If we've had this recently, a tenant put a hole in the wall. And so we went and fixed it and we charged the tenant. Now the tenant doesn't have to worry about it anymore, right? Like when they move out, that hole's not going to be there. It's not an expense they're going to have to worry about then. They knew they did it. They weren't trying to hide from it. Stuff like that happens. So we took care of it now, and it's cheaper than taking care of it later when you're looking at a whole bunch of stuff, right, in compilation.
Well, it can also be the flip side of it. It can also be the showing that everything's fine. There's a year of history here, for example, and nothing significant requiring any repairs or outstanding maintenance has occurred.
Right.
So.
Or if there's regular property maintenance, if you're a property owner, some property owners are ultra concerned about keeping up on their properties. Some of them, I can think of a couple owners that we have that give us old properties sometimes that have a lot of deferred maintenance. Mm-hmm. Tell us about that, Kyle.
Well, the deferred maintenance in the old properties can pile, everyone always says, especially when that's a bad way to put it. Common times when people live in properties, even maintenance gets deferred that then all needs to be done right at the beginning of the rental. Even picking up old properties that maybe were flipped and most of the stuff has been modernized, appliances are new, countertops are new, all the things that look cosmetic are new, but all the functionality pieces of that property probably weren't replaced in that flip, right, to make that sale. Not always the case, but a lot of times, the toilet, the inners of the toilets, the toilets themselves, the drains, all the parts behind the showers, all these things that require maintenance after a certain amount of time may not have been addressed.
Yeah, and it's hard for owners, right? Once they turn it over, sometimes they would rather deal with this stuff on a regular basis, as it comes up, than have a $40,000 turnover, right? Because the house is just a mess. You know what I mean? These things usually cause more problems that cause more money. So Kyle, any more? We talked about renewal inspection. We talked about move in and move out. We didn't really get into move in and move out too much. I mean, really, what we try to do when we come in and do move out inspections after a tenant moves out is do one right after they move out, so we know exactly what condition they give it back to us in. Right, like here, we're giving you possession of the home. It's yours. Okay, so you didn't clean it, you didn't do this, you didn't do right, whatever it is, or they did, whatever, that's all going to come out in the initial inspection. And sometimes I'll call that an inspection prior to repairs as well. And then we'll do those repairs, and I'll usually do another inspection post repairs. So now we have documentation of what the property looked like and what condition it was in after we were done with our repairs, marketing the home now, ready to go. So for the next tenant, we can reference that if we ever need to in the future when they try to tell us that, that wall was always brown. Mm-hmm. No, it wasn't brown. We painted the place.
Or the previous tenant, if you have to do, we are also responsible common times for the security deposit itemization. So
right, exactly.
That previous move-in inspection and the move-out inspection and even the prior to move-in inspection after that to see what it was repaired to justify that, look, this is how it was returned. This is how it was given. This is how it was returned. This is what it was returned to, showing that we actually did do this repair. All those things can come into play. Oftentimes we hope that the existence and reoccurrence of all these prior to that, there isn't much on that final inspection, or there isn't much that they do be charged for. Oftentimes we know that not to not be true, but that's what you work hard for, is make sure they keep property in.
Yeah, because you want to get it right? You want to be fair. You have to be fair to your homeowner. If you're the homeowner, you can be fair to yourself, but you also want to be fair to the tenant, right? It's technically their money that you're using, right? And so you really want to be careful because there's housing laws and everything else. So whenever we do it, we reference all these things just like you demonstrated, these inspections to compare and do the best we can to ascertain whether this is actually tenant negligence or if it was something that was missed on the last turn or what have you. And then, but also always thinking about how are you going to answer this question, or that's not really the word I'm looking for. How are you going to support this in a court? If you're in front of a judge and somebody is disputing something, how are you going to support it? And we really try to make sure that there's as much evidence as we possibly can so that we don't have to worry about that.
And that we can support it with facts, because we're basically, in a lot of cases, we're disputing facts and emotion. So it's like, well, I left the house in perfect condition and I paid my rent for 3 years. It's not a dispute of why you don't think you should have to pay for that hole in the wall. And then it goes back and forth. It's like, well, I never missed a rent payment. And I'm like, well, I'm not accusing you of missing a rent payment.
It's the hole in the wall.
It's the hole in the wall. It's back to the hole in the wall. That was rent payment. Should have paid for that hole in the wall. Well, they didn't. They do not. Stuff like that. So just keeping that out of it. We work hard to keep it fact-based. And we even give tenants a similar way of documenting it on their end. So we think that's important too, is giving tenants the ability to document and provide a comparable report on their end. So, and a lot of times we'll use those reports to say, this is what you said it was. This is the condition that in your report that you said it was. Here's how it was moved out. Sometimes it's even two of their reports where we're like, this is what you said here. This is what you said here. This isn't even me accusing you of this. This is your documentation supporting what we were saying. So all these things come into play. I've gone, like you said, what you can support in court. I've legit gone to court over a security deposit dispute before with nothing but the tenant's own inspection report, tenant's own pictures. I left all of our stuff. I was just like, all right, here, this is what this is the documentation you supplied us. It supports everything that we did. Obviously I had ours, but nothing supports. There's no better way to dispute their own claim than their own evidence. So all these things do come into play. So I think that's important.
You know what else? Also, we didn't talk about this, but how do you do an inspection? Like what kind? Like I'm not going to get into how to do an inspection, but the point I want to make is that doing a detailed inspection with all the utilities on, checking appliances, checking everything works, like actually inspecting every part of the home that could and can be used, smoke alarms, the whole bit, is really important because A, it keeps you out of trouble. B, there's nothing more frustrating for both a landlord and a tenant to move into a home and then now you're living in it and finding all the issues, right? So maybe on the surface, everything looks good. It was painted, it was cleaned, but nobody checked to see that the dishwasher doesn't work and one of the burners on the stove doesn't work, and you know what I mean? Or there's no hot water in the bathroom sink because the valve was closed. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that can happen, and man,
and you can't avoid all of it. But yeah, it definitely checking everything helps.
Yeah,
like I've seen when say the turnover and water heater got replaced and nobody turned up the water heater, so even the manager testing it will feel hot water, but doesn't realize that there's 1 minute of hot water before it runs out of its 120 degree tank that needed to be turned up right at installation.
That's right.
Seen that a lot. Just little things. So yeah, I mean you can't avoid it all, but the renter's punch list can be annoying, and people would like
to
that
everybody.
Stuff to be checked.
It could create a bad experience for the tenant, and then now you think you've just got this house behind you and you've turned it over and you've marketed it and you're moving on to the next one, but yet now you're getting all these complaints and maintenance requests on the home that you just finished. That's frustrating for a landlord, but it goes back to your diligence in inspecting the home and making sure that it was ready for a new tenant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's important I know I just brought this up, but forcing at least requirement should be a tenant's side inspection at move-in. I think that's important because it's, even if it's just a document, like a documentation, because otherwise, if the lease says that deems it free and clear, if you don't submit this, it at least covers you from that aspect. Because at move-in, if they don't want to deem themselves clear of repairs at move-in, but they want to do that at move-out, you at least provided the options. And it was up to them to do it. So if you guys have any questions about inspections, how they can be used to your advantage or disadvantage, I think it's definitely on both sides of that coin. Give us a call, 817-818-9039, or shoot us an email at showmethemoney@wearetpm.com. John and Kyle are out.
You go.